All right, guys, welcome into another episode of Thrift Chronicles. I'm your host, Johnny O, with my partner in crime.
Games by Omar. Happy New Year, everybody.
Yep, Happy New Year, guys. I know it's been a minute. We haven't done an episode since last year, even though that was just a month ago. It's a new year. I know me and Omar both been busy doing certain things, taking care of the family. A lot of new opportunities are starting to present itself. It's a great year. It's going to start off a great year for both of us. So we just want to let you guys know, sorry that we've been busy, but at the end of the day, we're here again to start a new episode for the new year. And further ado, let's get it started. So Omar, how was your new year? How was business starting since 2006 is, 2026 is here now.
So far, business has been great in the new year. I made sure that I wanted to start the new year strong. So I went on Whatnot, even though I'm not a big fan of Whatnot, but I did a Whatnot show on the 1st. Just kind of, Happy New Year, get some things, clear some inventory out. And I did pretty good. I did decent. It was $1 starts, video games, Xbox, PlayStation, stuff like that. And I had a Sega Genesis as the buyer's giveaway. It's kind of a little gimmick that I do there. Usually people come in, and since the auction is starting so low that they see that there's a console for a giveaway, they want to bid automatically to get a chance to win that console. So it went off pretty well. Made about 690 something, sold 88 games. And after fees it was like 5 something, but it was still a good way to start the new year. And then I had an eBay sale of all things.
Or it
You
took you a
know,
whole year.
it took me a whole year. Cause you know what's funny? I don't think I sold anything on eBay all of December, bro.
Wow.
Yeah, because I'm never on there. Mercari has been hitting for me. I would say that just for the holiday season in general, even up to the new year as well. I did have a little bit of an issue. It's still in progress. I had a console that I sent out, a PS4, just like we were talking, damaged in transit, bro. Damaged in,
No, all
yeah,
bad.
UPS this time, man. UPS let me down. I do UPS for Mercari just because it's cheaper for heavier items. I don't know why, but on Mercari, UPS is like super cheap, and
Yeah, it
they
is.
they let me down, bro. So, $100 something dollar sale, as soon as he got it, he put in the return request, bro.
And then you had to refund them, huh?
And so not yet. He's supposed to send it back. So this is the thing. He's supposed to send it back. I think he has until Monday, bro, and he hasn't sent it back. So, if he
Nah.
if he doesn't send it back, then I think they just cancel the return. Because I told him, I was like, look, bro, like, I'll take it back. It wasn't anything where it didn't work. At least, it was just the superficial, like everything was cracked, like the shell and all that. But I'm assuming it's still working. So I don't know if he just decided to keep it. I haven't heard anything from him. I'll probably reach out to him like in a couple days, like, hey, bro, what's up? But realistically, if it just gets canceled, it just gets canceled. I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah, that's something that you can't control. So it's like I guess if it gets canceled, I guess you could say it's a win-win. I guess I don't really know, but as long as you don't have to refund the person, you should be okay.
Yeah, and I'm totally fine with refunding it if I get it back. I'm not trying to do the whole like refund and then he keeps it,
Yeah, no,
So
yeah, I hate doing that because then it doesn't make any sense. It's like, hold on, you want me to refund you, but then you want to
yeah,
keep it. Nah.
yeah, like send it back. I'll gladly, because I have, I could use the part, and switch out the parts and probably resell it again if it's, just superficial damage. But yeah, man, I mean that it's been a wild turn of events, bro. Like really this last few weeks, but I've been selling, man, and consoles has been up. Consoles are up, bro. Games, I'm thinking about switching to my strategy on certain things. In some of these stores, like in Torrance, bro, I'm thinking about just doing consoles, man. Like don't even sell games in there. Cause I sell games, don't get me wrong, but I sell consoles. Like I went there today, to go get some stuff actually out of there. And he was like, oh yeah, yeah, you sold like Xbox yesterday. And I was like, oh damn, like, you know, and it's been like that the whole time. So, and it's the opposite for like the other spot that I'm at. I don't really sell consoles there. That other Xbox has been there for months, just sitting there. So, this year I'm really focusing on just getting things where they're supposed to be and, expanding and, just getting it good in the new year, bro. But how about you, man? Enough about me, man. How about you?
Oh no, never enough about you. No, yeah, everything's going pretty well for me too. I think because it's the new year. I'm trying to expand also like you. To end last year, I did okay on eBay. I know on our last episode during November Black Friday, I was doing amazing. I was doing really, really good. But I feel like it died down a little bit for December around the Christmas holidays because people probably their situation was a little bit different from them buying items and stuff like that. And I totally understand that because we're in hard times and stuff like that now for certain individuals and families. So I did okay, but lately I've been selling on what is it, the cross listing information that you gave me, the what is it, flip? I was about to say lift. Like really?
Okay.
I've been doing okay on that. Macari I've been selling here and there. They're not really like high end items. They're like little decent items. And then eBay's always gonna sell. I've been doing okay, like I told you. A matter of fact, I've been selling a little bit more on Poshmark. And since you brought up about refunding and how UPS, damaged the order for me, I sold something to somebody on the Poshmark through the flip thing, and they sold them a sweater. They received the sweater, and then they tell me, "Hey, you did not disclose that there were spots." I'm like, "I did say that. It says it on the description that there was spots
Wow.
and stuff on the crew neck." But I guess since I wrote what was it, Poshmark, and stated, there was it says that on the description, wada wada wada. And then once I said that, Poshmark was like automatically was like, "Oh, we're gonna accept a return." To return the item. But see, I'm in the same boat as you. They never printed out the return or whatever for me to receive the product. And Poshmark pretty much said, "Hey, they were supposed to return it. They were supposed to mail it by December 30th. We're already on the 8th." So they were pretty much saying if they do not return it, like they're gonna reward them. They're not gonna reward the return. So I would just get my funds and then they're just gonna get the item or whatnot. So I had to deal with that with Poshmark, and then everything else has just been eBay. I've been selling here and there. A matter of fact, today when you hit me up about doing the pod, I had someone come through Facebook Marketplace. They came and bought all my Disney stuff that I had when I used to work there. I gave them like
Okay.
an amazing deal for $20. I said, "Hey, just take all this crap because there's no need for it for me anymore." So I sold that, and then also, like I said, it's a new year. We're both trying to expand. I know before we got on here, I was telling you, I'm trying to open a store to get a storefront to start a business to expand We Be Thrifting and to use my ideas to help others and at the same time benefit for everybody and me too. So fingers crossed. We'll see how everything goes, and if it does work out, obviously, you guys listening, you'll be seeing We Be Thrifting with Games by Omar eventually in a store, and you guys can come and buy what you need to buy. But other than that, like everything's been good. I can't complain. It's a new year. We got to start off fresh and see where it takes us both.
Absolutely, bro. This year, you basically we got to focus on what didn't work last year and, kind of just try to change that up and revise the strategy. So far, I mean, it's early. We're only, few days into the new year. But, so far it looks like it's working. I do have to, put out my RIP to Encore. I talk about Encore a lot on the pod, man, and just in general. That was one of my favorite apps to sell on, and unfortunately, it seemed that they weren't able to continue. I don't know what happened, bro. I don't know what happened. I mean, I kind of have an idea, but they shut it down. I love that app, but it's gone. So we're moving on to bigger and better things. RIP for me to TikTok too.
Yeah, I know you told me about TikTok. It wasn't doing too well for you.
Yeah, so this is what happened, man. I've been selling. We've talked about it. I've been selling on TikTok pretty well, actually. And when I first got on there, I was kind of a little surprised that there weren't a lot of guys on there selling video games like used games, tested and working games. And the terms of service on TikTok had a little bit of a gray area. And I was getting these sales. I was putting everything in the description, tested and working. Hey, this is good to go, and this is good to go. I was shipping stuff out on time, and I did have one issue where UP or post office again didn't deliver, and the guy hit me up like, "Hey man, where's my package?" And I was like, "Well, it says it's been delivered." And, we went back and forth. I approved the return because at the end of the day, the return was like, it was like an $8 game. And you got to remember, a lot of these games I get from a guy for like a buck a piece. So realistically, I'm like, bro, I'll refund you. Sorry it didn't get there. Let's keep it moving. I think the next day, bro, I tried to log in, gone. And, and it was wild because they still owe me some money, but, we ain't gonna talk about all that because I'm like, wait, hold up. Because remember, TikTok took like 30 days to pay after delivery.
Yeah, I know.
And I probably got maybe like one or two of my payments for TikTok. And I think I had already 9, 10 sales already by the time it got shut down. So I can appeal. They said I have 30 days. I mean, that was like 2 weeks ago. So probably got like 2 weeks. I should probably appeal it just to see.
Yeah,
Um, I think it didn't say in specific what it was, but I think it was the games are used and everything has to be new.
yeah,
I'm
that
90,
sucks.
99% sure that's what it is. So, I might appeal, maybe within the next week or so. I mean, I'm not tripping on it too much. That's why I didn't rush to do it. But I was getting some sales on there.
Yeah, I know you were because you were getting more sales than me, and every time I would at least get a text from you that, hey, I sold another one. I'm like, dang, I can't even sell a damn tumbler on
Yeah,
there.
man. I mean, see, the thing is, you would be good because that Tumblr is brand new, you
Yeah, I
know?
know. Well, obviously, I would state that it's brand new, but then like people weren't really they're liking it, and I'm putting the information saying like, hey, go ahead and check the store out or whatnot. But other than that, I was just like, it is what it is. So they weren't buying it, but they were buying your stuff, so that's all that matters. One of us is winning. We're
Hey,
winning.
we're winning, yeah. So, my hand has been forced to basically, do whatnot between Encore and TikTok. Me losing those, I basically had to do whatnot. And anybody who knows me knows I'm not a whatnot guy. you know,
Yeah,
I
I know.
I was in the stream saying I'm not a whatnot guy, but it went well. So I have another one coming up on the 17th. It'll be all Sega Genesis as well. So we'll kind of, my New Year's goal is to implement a little more of that because as much as I know I don't like it, live selling is really the new wave right now.
Yes, it is.
A lot of people want to see the item live. They want to, people love to bid, people love auctions, people love the thrill. So, I'm going to lean into that a little more because I looked it up. I think I only did 3 live streams for the whole year last year, bro. Three.
That's dang. I think I did one last year.
Yeah, so and that's why I wanted to start off with one just because, I just wanted to get that out the way and then do another one. I'll probably try to do 3 this month, maybe 3 every month or something like that. I don't know about once a week, but just try to get new stuff in there, get new capital. I want to get to the 1,000 sales because I know at 1,000 sales they do the instant payout, if you're
Yeah, yeah,
reviewing
yeah.
and all that. So I was like, let me go ahead and get that going. But, in addition to that, man, we were talking about it a little bit before. I struck up a conversation with one of my local game stores, and local to me, I'll be having some space in there as well. So, Games by Omar is expanding a little bit more in the new year. Even more moves coming, that we're talking about with your stuff and with some other things I'm working on. So, we're the goal this year is to really just move the business forward, man. I would think everybody right now should be focusing on growing within, bro.
Yeah.
Because, you look at all these companies out there and you go to work for these companies and you go make money for these companies and then they go ahead and close the next day. You got to start making your own money. That's the biggest thing. And I see that, a lot of it's weird. A lot of small businesses are starting and a lot of big businesses are closing. You
No, you're
know,
right.
it's interesting. I know a friend of mine just opened a shop as well, a collectible shop and small business is doing pretty good overall. And so just like we were talking before, I know that's something that you're leaning into. And I mean, you'll have the chance to prosper. And all the people that are coming from this place that's closed down or this place that's closed down, will be able to come to you and you can be able to supply them. And then, the ecosystem works, man. Everything goes around. So, I think this year is the year for that, bro. The year for growth, man. That's my mantra. We're just gonna grow this year.
Yeah, and that's all we can do is grow. At the end of the day, it's like how you said, these small businesses are helping for a lot of people because a lot of these big businesses are closing down. One, they're closing down for a multitude of reasons, but we're not going to get into that. Two, it's like why not for both of us to expand and then help each other in house and then help other people at the same time to give other people that kind of do the same thing that we do, give them opportunities or guide them or to work in our little shop or whatever facility that we have and help them and then also open up other stuff, open other opportunities for each other, because it is a good year. And I think this is, like you said, it's in God's hands. And obviously it's working so far. You're expanding. And then I'm eventually, I'm going to expand too. And then, it's all going to work out. And I feel like this is a year to start, even though we only been in a couple of days, a couple of days into the new year. It's gradually, everything's starting to fall into place.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Absolutely. You know, there's, there's still money to be made, man. Money is still changing hands and, it's really all about just getting, yourself out there and, for the people to know that you're there and the people to know you're available, man. And, that's reselling as a whole. No one can buy from you if they don't know you're there. And, I tell people that all the time, whether it's, doing events or, running sales or anything like that, you want to make sure that everybody can see you because, one thing is, thrifting and reselling is at its biggest right now.
Yeah,
Everybody's mama's doing it, man.
everybody's doing it.
Everybody's doing it. So, for you to get ahead of the pack, it's really just about just, getting the name out there, man. And that's something that I really believe in and I try to, do. I've been saying this, since we started the pod, I try to do at least one thing every day for the business to get the business out there. Whether it could be something as simple as an Instagram post or, as simple as posting one thing, And I know I've been saying it for a while, I haven't done it yet, but you know, this this year, I'm gonna boost up the eBay too, because, I'm not really on eBay, but going the whole December without an eBay sale was kind of crazy.
Well, yeah, but at least you got one to end off the year.
Yeah, got one. No, no, no. That was the beginning of this year.
I mean, yeah, I mean, in the beginning, yeah, my bad. But yeah, at least you got one. Maybe that's the start.
Yeah, yeah. It was a dude. He actually hit me up for it was a bundle. So, I only do games, of course, but the one thing that it's kind of game territory, but it's kind of not, is flight simulators for the PC.
Okay.
So, I've learned that people actually really like those. And I sell them periodically here and there. But I had a guy like 2 days after I couldn't even sleep that morning. It was like 2 days, 3 days ago. And he hit me up and he's like, "Hey man, I see you have like a lot of flight simulators on there. Would you be interested in the bundle?" And I went and broke everything down. I cut him a really sweet deal, man. And for me, a lot of that stuff was in a bundle that I bought a while back and I already made my money. So I wasn't stressing like, hey, this is worth $10, this is worth $20. I just cut the dude a really sweet deal. And said, hey man, made the post, sent him the post, and he bought it just like that. So I think with eBay, just like Whatnot, those two are the two that I don't really mess with as much. But this year I have to lean. Whatnot has already showed me this year that it can work. So, and so has eBay a little bit as well. So I think those two, I'm really gonna go ahead and put some chips in that basket because people spend, man, on different apps. You sell different things on different places, and you never know where your next sale can be from.
No, you're right. And then I think I need to be on Whatnot a little bit more too, because like I said, I wasn't on it that much last year. And I know we discussed that we need to both be on that a lot more because like times is changing. Everybody is doing online. They're streaming. Like you said, people want to see the product, want people to demonstrate it and present it and see it. The only thing is, you can't touch it or smell it, so you can't try it out. But we're not in that time yet where it's going to be that futuristic where we can actually do all that. But you're totally right. I need to do on that more. eBay's always going to sell for me, but I think whatnot I'm probably going to do a lot more this year. I just got to see. I know it all depends what I'm going to sell to, because like how we discussed previous episodes, the less you get on whatnot, it's kind of like you got to start all over again, because then a lot of people are on other people's streams. So then they got to start redeveloping, like, oh, okay, Omar, games by Omar. Oh, we be thrifting. Oh, they're back on. But then it's like, you got to build that audience all over again because you haven't been on there for so long. Rather than when you were going consistently, you would get a certain amount every time you went on. As in, if I don't know how many you got this time when you went. I know you said you were on there for 3 hours. You made about $600, but probably took a minute till you got a type of audience to go in there, right?
So yes and no. So this is I kind of I kind of have a gimmick, man. I do two giveaways, right? Period. Well, two giveaways to start. So the buyer's giveaway is at the end. And if anybody knows whatnot rules, a non-buyer can technically win a buyer's giveaway, but that's a whole discussion that
Yeah.
we don't even need to have. But I usually actually start the live stream with a giveaway because then that holds at least people for the first 5 minutes because usually it's about 5 minutes. And then I run stuff at $1 during those 5 minutes the giveaway's going on. So that kind of got me a solid, like, I think the lowest was like 15. The highest was about almost 4. No, it's probably like 40 people at its highest, but average was about 22, people that I had in there consistently, so, I kind of have a way where it works sometimes. I'm not going to say all the time, but I basically hook them in with that first givey. And I'm like, hey, while you guys are in here, if you want the big givey, which is, I did a Sega Genesis, 9 times out of 10 is a Sega Genesis because, those I find them so cheap. And if they're broken, I know how to fix them. They're easy to fix. So those is like, I'll give that away any day, all day. And, pretty much just say, look, if you want the big givey, I'm doing dollar starts. Everybody who buys gets a chance to win. And most people stick around because at the end, I say I'm running it at the end. You have to be in there to have your chance to win. You can't enter the giveaway one till I post it. And then you can't enter and leave the stream and then have a chance to win. So most people just kind of stick around. So that's kind of like I guess it's a gimmick or draw or whatever you want to call it to hold people in the shows. So I'm going to kind of lean on that with this next show. Basically, I want to do like 2 or 3 shows like that in a row and see if it's not exactly the same result, but if it's close enough. And then if I can do it 3 times in a row and get decent traction, decent money, then that will be my blueprint. That's kind of the way I want to frame it. So, the first one was good, 690, I think some of it was even tips. People were tipping, which was crazy, and so far, not, I had one issue with a guy said he didn't get anything, and that's been clarified. So far, everything, I went and shipped it the next day. I want to make, I was packing basically from the second I stopped the stream, and then halfway through the next day, I was just packing, and I got everything out quick. And then a lot of that stuff got delivered. I got paid actually within like 5 days of the stream.
Oh,
So
wow.
yeah, so that was another thing too. So I was like, okay, I don't know if the post office just on a holiday high and they still working fast, but a lot of that stuff got there quicker than I expected it to be completely honest, bro. And I mean, it's been working. So I think, I'll lean a lot into that if that's the case and, continue with the stores, continue with everything else, but just implement the whatnot in it just to keep people, and you never know. You could win stuff for $1. Like there's stuff that actually went for $1 and I shipped it out either way. I didn't complain about it. I didn't, anything. Everybody's getting that deal. And then you could turn around and, there was a lot of things I was like, look, man, you can actually turn around and make some money on this
Yeah.
if you really want to. And it's a help me, help you. And, I'm clearing stuff out, you know, they're getting a good deal. They're getting, inventory that they can probably sell and make some more money. So, it's a win-win for everybody. And I really think that that's the wave, man. I've noticed that, if I can get my TikTok back on, if I could get my TikTok back on, my selling permissions or whatever you call it, I might do TikTok live as much, even though I said I wasn't gonna do it, you know. But with reselling, things change, man, in an instant, you know. So you got to be able to adapt to everything that comes your way.
Yeah, no, you're totally right. Me, like I said, I'm not gonna do TikTok. I just, it's just too much for me, especially with the experience you went through. So I'm like, I just keep on posting videos of what I make and what I find out there in the bins, so I could show people on there, just like I do on YouTube. Uh, Pretty much what I replaced TikTok is with the other one that I told you a couple episodes back is the .com. I ended up doing a store there. So
Okay.
I've been selling pretty well on there. So a lot of cards that I buy that I have like duplicates of that there's no need for, I just throw them on there at a quarter, and people just go ham on my store and look for particular cards that I have. And if it's something that they need to complete a set, or they're if it's their a player for their PC, they just buy them. And for a quarter, you can't beat a quarter. So it's like, and then the fees are pretty cheap there because I don't really get charged for seller fees. I think I stated that last podcast, but
Okay.
the quarters on there, I sell them at a quarter, but the same cards that I will sell at a quarter, I sell those same exact cards on eBay. I would have to sell it at $1 plus shipping, but then after fees, it pretty much be like a quarter. Rather than on here, I don't pay seller fees. The person buys 4 copies of the same card at a quarter. They still pay the shipping. And then all I'm doing is paying for the shipping label. I just determine what shipping label that I need for how much it weighs and stuff like that. And I'm still making a profit. So I believe I just did it, I think a week ago. Someone bought like, I think like $18 worth of cards off of me, off a
Okay.
quarter. And some were quarter and some were like 50 cents. But after them paying for shipping and everything, and then I had to pay for a label, I think I made $12 profit. On eBay, I would have made what, $3? Maybe
Man. Okay.
off of 20 cards. Like, that's pretty good. I'll take that. The only thing with them is I still haven't seen the money deposit into my PayPal account, because I think how they do it, it's scheduled every Tuesdays and Fridays. But I did see on my payouts, they have like specific dates that the money's supposed to be deposited in. So I'm just going to wait and see on those dates that it's stated to see if the money's in there. And if that's the case, that's fine. That's just extra money that's going to go in my account. And then I can't complain because, like I said, the cards are selling for a quarter. That's literally, that's nothing. Rather than me throw them in the trash or try to hold them and then I can't sell them, and then it's like I might as well just give them away. But but there's always some buyer for someone. There's always a buyer out there for something. And then too, a lot of people do collect sets. They might be looking for specific cards that they can't find or they don't have, or they might just want another copy of. So this website's amazing. I'm glad that I found it. Well, I kind of knew about it, but I'm glad that I'm actually sticking to it. I just never finished doing the application process until like last year, but it isn't working out for me. So keeps me busy. It's another storefront for me to do besides eBay, Macari, Depop, Poshmark, and whatever else I have. This one's been working good. Poshmark's been working good since you told me about the cross listing, and then eBay's always there, and then Macari's it's a hit or miss. And then Marketplace has been doing pretty well. Just been having, like how we said last couple episodes, you have those people that flake. They say they're going to be there, or they say, hey, I want this or that. And a matter of fact, I had that person today when you were writing me. I have these AEW figures,
Okay.
and they're listed. The price is listed on on my Facebook Marketplace store. But then he has the audacity to constantly keep asking me how much, how much. I'm like, bro, it says it right there, $8. Then I'm telling him like, hey, look, I'll do 2 for 10. You're asking me for the other ones. And then he's like, well, how much for this? I'm like, bro, I just told you, I'll do 2 for 10 for you. So you're gonna get both figures for $5 rather than you pay $8 for one. And then he kept asking me about other figures. Oh, is it the same as this one? I'm like, look, you know what? So what I ended up doing was I just took a picture of all the figures that I had, and I said, look, this is what I have. If you want to get any of these figures, I could do 4 for 20, or I could do you even a better. I'll give you all 6 of them for $30.
Yeah.
And he was like, oh, bet. Where are you at? I'm like, I'm in downtown Riverside. He was like, oh, not too far. I live in San Bernardino. I'm like, yeah, so, probably without traffic, 20 minutes. And I'm like, let me know when you're going to come through. Okay, bet. Nothing. And Omar, this guy's been writing me since Monday, asking me the same
Wow.
exact questions. I'm like, bro, are you going to come get this or what?
Sometimes, man, I mean, I've had that, and sometimes I realize that you don't really know the person So it can get annoying, but I've had instances where that ends up being a big sell in the long run,
Yeah.
you know? So sometimes, I'm like, all right, patience is key, man.
Well, I've been patient, and it's like, bro, you keep asking me the same questions. Come on now, are you gonna get it or not? So sometimes I don't even want to respond, but I'm like, I have to respond because he's a buyer. Like you said, it could be a big sale. Two, it can be a future customer in the long run to buy something else that I have.
Yeah. You never know, man. You never know. It could be nothing, but it could be something, bro. And that's the best way for me to put it, and you never know nowadays. But I've had for me, the thing that's hilarious is, I put in the description, especially this is Facebook Marketplace and OfferUp, and I'm like, look, pick up at, this address. It's this store, this address, just ask for Games by Omar. 9 times out of 10, and that's in the description, bro. And 9 times out of 10, it's like, hey man, where's the address? It's literally in the description. But a lot of times, I just have it saved in my clipboard now, man. As soon as they ask, bro, I just fire it off because
Yeah,
it's. But people don't read. People don't, they just see a deal or they just see something and they just want to go for it without asking questions, man. And what's crazy, as we're doing this podcast, man, I went and scrolled on my Macari. The guy actually shipped it today, bro. The return.
really.
Yeah. So it's estimated by the 13th. I'm just hoping it doesn't get double jacked up on the way back, to where I can at least salvage it. And if it comes back totally trash, man, I'm just gonna. I mean, I paid $30 total, so I'm not tripping. But that was like a 70 something or 80 something dollar profit,
Yeah.
that's gone. And I can still, replace the parts that broke because those are just plastic if it's just that. But if it turns into anything more than that, I'm probably just gonna have to take that L.
Well,
And it's $30, but for me, it's the time because those things, I open them up, I put new thermal paste, a new battery, I clean them out, so it's more of a time investment than a money investment.
yeah.
Um, for me, if and these things happen, but even though he put the return in, this is a last year sale, so I'ma still leave that in the last year. But we're talking about stores and everything, and like your store and all of that. I'm thinking maybe just consoles. I'm just gonna put consoles in stores, man. Cause shipping them is almost always a problem, no matter how well and how much bubble wrap. Like I wasted a whole roll of bubble wrap on that thing, man, and it's still somehow got there. I don't know if they're kicking it around or just playing God knows what with it on the way over there. UPS let me down on this one, bro. Big time. But it happens. It's part of the game. As a reseller starting out, you got to expect these things. Unfortunately, not every transaction is going to go as smooth as you want it to be, but you just got to learn to adapt and overcome.
Yeah, you're totally right. And like you said, you used the whole thing of bubble wrap and it still got damaged. And bubble wrap is not cheap. God forbid when you get it back, it doesn't get re-damaged. So, because it's time is money. Obviously, you do take your time, and that's why I do tell people that when they do looking for a console and stuff, and I refer them to you and I tell them what they're looking for. I say, hey, Omar puts the time to fix it, clean it, to replace everything. So then when you get it, there is no issues. So
Absolutely.
I know you take your time to do your work, just like, I do my due diligence to wash these clothes that I pick up and check these VHSs and stuff because, you don't want to send something damaged or torn or something that's messed up and then you have to refund these people, or if it's not stated in there, then that's another issue. So, that being said, guys, thanks for listening to another great episode of Thrift Chronicles. This is a whole new year. We're going to be doing more episodes in the near future, talking about what we have planned. Games by Omar will be expanding as I will be expanding too. You'll be expanding, both of us. Doing what we need to do. Until then, guys, I'm Johnny, and with my co-host.
Games by Omar. Take it easy, everybody.
Peace.